don't know what that music was, but I liked it. Oh, happy Action Monday to everyone in the sports universe. We are what's left of the AM Drive. That's Aaron Crouch. I'm Michael Carvelis. Aaron, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I didn't hear any music. What happened?
You didn't hear the music?
No, I didn't hear any music. No, I guess I was left out. I'll have to
That
catch
was
it.
groovy. I ain't gonna lie. Dun, 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 dun. That was nice.
Uh-oh.
Oh, so sad.
Uh-oh. Still again. There we go. We're back.
What's up, Hockey Puck? Okay, so today's show is going to be different because we are on a new streaming broadcast. And to just get that out of the way now, because I know people don't want to hear that. They want to hear sports talk. We have noticed some issues with another broadcasting thing. So we're going to try this today, see if it goes through, and if it does, we'll look way better next time. We promise you. But for now, it's just Mike and Aaron. Just deal with it. Okay. So, Aaron, what?
Raw. Mike and Aaron raw.
That's right. I'll just take off my shirt now and just go on with it.
I said raw, not uncensored.
Oh, come on. Raw and uncut.
Mm.
Definitely uncut, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to start doing a thing that we call Get Caught Up. This would have looked a lot better with it on the screen. But it's Get Caught Up in the NHL with Aaron. So, Aaron, I've read across ESPN tickers that there's been some blockbuster trades. That's about my extent of the knowledge of it. I know my Kraken look really good, and they're like 2 points away from first place in the Western Conference. But I'll be honest, I think our goaltending still stinks. I think we get in shootouts way too often. Give me some more than just the Kraken talk and some of that trade talk that I know NHL fans want to hear your take on.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're coming just a little bit out of the All-Star break here, and the Bruins are still just firing on all cylinders. It's insane. It's incredible. I know people are like, yeah, but, how, are you going to peak at the right time? Are you going to be still good at the right time? I mean, the Bruins have just looked incredible, but we'll talk about the East to start with first. Yeah, the trades. Toronto picks up Ryan O'Reilly, and if you're not familiar with Ryan O'Reilly, he came from the St. Louis Blues, who also shipped out Vladimir Tarasenko, another one of their Stanley Cup heroes. They shipped him to the New York Rangers, Ryan O'Reilly to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it looks like the St. Louis Blues are probably in a what we'd call rebuilding mode here in terms of blockbuster trades. Those are two of the biggest names to go. Another big name to go is Bo Horvat from the Vancouver Canucks to the New York Islanders. So the Eastern Conference really is loading up for a Royal Rumble of sorts.
Ooh.
I mean, from top to almost the bottom, you've got a lot of good teams. You've got you'd say you got 3 good teams in the Atlantic, and of course you probably have 6 good teams in the Metro, which I know we chime in year in and year out with the Metropolitan Division. You got Ovi's chasing Gretzky for goals. It's been an incredible year so far. I mean, the trade deadline, while you had some splashes, wasn't incredibly active, which is okay. But this East, I mean, if we're talking about coming down to the stretch to playoff time, I use a word that is going to be interesting to watch, and it's cannibalism.
Ooh.
There are so many good teams in the East that it almost feels like whoever comes out of the West just doesn't stand a chance for me. And I know that you're a Kraken guy. I'm out here in Vegas. One of our buddies, Cody, he's an Oilers guy. I at this stage right now, the hockey playoffs are the best thing in the world since sliced bread. We know that anything can happen. Hot goalie, you get hot home ice, anything can happen. I get that. But right now, for me, it just feels like any team that comes out of that East from like 1 to 7 is better than any product that I've seen in the West this year. And that includes the defending champs, the Colorado Avalanche.
How's Nathan MacKinnon look compared to last year?
He's fine. He suffered an injury earlier in the year. I know that Kadri, he took the money, went up to Calgary, hasn't really performed, But Nathan MacKinnon's not on the Connor McDavid level. So I know all of you guys who wanted to kind of the last 2 years try to squeeze a square peg in a round hole with that. Let's pump the brakes. Connor McDavid's still on another level, and the Oilers are still 4th place in the putrid West Division. So that will always be a mind boggle. Mike Trout, Connor McDavid, I mean, the career trajectories are just running parallel right now. So as far as like, the big guns, I mean, Toronto made a move. I know we've talked about this. They haven't, the last time they were in the second round of the playoffs, I was in high school. And you were like 8 years old, I think. So Toronto's doing everything they can. You can't fault them for loading up and doing everything they can to get out of those, the first round. But they're going to have a hard time. I mean, the thing is Boston's probably going to win the Presidents. And so they're going to end up probably having to square off against the Lightning again this year in the first round.
A rivalry by now, ain't it?
That whole love triangle is butting into a rivalry.
Love triangle. Who's the third team there?
Well, there's the Bruins, the Maple Leafs, and the Lightning.
Oh, Toronto, of course. So we got Toronto, Tampa Bay, and Boston. We have the best fan bases in sports, I'm sure. Throw the Flyers in there, you'd have a quartet.
Absolutely, you're correct. So, getting you caught up here in the world of NHL to this point.
I like it. I do have a question, just to my own horn here. I remember over a year ago now, I called Connor McDavid Connor McJesus. You seemed surprised when I first said that, and now it's like an unnational nickname for him. Can we say that I coined that? You seemed very surprised the first time I said that.
I'm pretty sure that was his name coming out, but I don't know if I think I may have been surprised that you said it, given the fact that you had never heard anybody else say that. So I will give you credit that if you didn't hear anybody else say that,
I did not.
Then I will give you credit for also coming up with that nickname. But he was pretty much Connor McJesus right out of the gate. So.
Oh, okay. Well, how about Connor McMessiah? How's that sound?
He's looking like Connor McMediocre right now in terms of his career trajectory. Statistically, he's incredible.
Which is sad.
If he wants to be talked about with Gretzky, there's going to need to be a cup or two in there.
At least like an appearance, right?
At least some appearances. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about Ovi, who's got one. You're talking about Crosby, who's got 3.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head.
Vasilevsky is one of the greatest of all time too,
Vasilevsky could be one of the greatest goalies. They're a completely different conversation.
Which is so sad.
That. We won't get into the Hall of Fame talk, but he's a guy who, if his career ended today, I don't know if he's in, but if his career goes 6 more years like this, 5 more years like this, he's in.
Who, Vaz?
Vasilevsky, yeah.
Oh.
It's hard, man. If he was, he's in, but he's a goalie.
Watching the NLL, like the lacrosse league, the box lacrosse league, for those who don't know, I've noticed there's a lot more respect for lacrosse goalies, and it blows my mind because lacrosse is literally if hockey and like soccer and basketball had a weird baby. I don't know why, if the game is played almost like hockey just without skates, why goalies are so much more respected. Like it blows my mind why NHL people have like put this stigma. I don't get it. Like, why do hockey people not like view goalies as good? You have to be good to win. I don't understand that.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Everybody has a different stat that makes them, tick as far as, their criteria. And it almost feels like the guys who get in are all really good across the board. And the guys who don't get in are just really good at one thing. Like, some guy, Martin Brodeur is going to get in because he's all-time leading wins. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to get in because of shutouts. So like Vasilevsky might get in because of Vezinas if he gets 1 or 2 more. Like, everybody does one thing really good. It doesn't necessarily get you in, but if you do everything really good,
like Vasilevsky,
I think Vasi does everything really good, and I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury, who who will probably be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but because he has a lot of shutouts, that will get him in the Hall of Fame.
Barf on all that. Good Lord, that's just sad. Curse hockey people for that. That's just rude.
But the last thing I'll say is, if we're more inviting of the goalies, Marc-Andre Fleury is a Hall of Famer. But because of the criteria that I feel like everyone slams down on goalies, I don't think he is. Does that make sense? Like, because it's a hard position to get into, I don't believe he belongs. But if we're talking about, it's a much harder criteria. I mean, even the other positions are much harder criteria than, say, basketball. I mean, basketball, you're going to get Russell Westbrook and Dwight Howard in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, Dwight Howard deserves that. Stop that, Mr. Orlando Media. I watched the interview with Shannon Sharp he did with Dwight Howard, and I was ashamed by a person like you from Orlando Media who bashes on that man. And I heard what actually happened according to Dwight. That's just sad what happened to him in Orlando, to be fair, because he's a very good player.
You'll have to enlighten me another time, because I have my, I mean, I'm not downplaying Dwight Howard's experiences. I have my thoughts about it, and I basically believe he basically followed the Shaq playbook in Orlando. And didn't matter what the Magic did, he was gone.
That's fair. We'll get to that later. Speaking of the NBA, speaking of Taiwan, Dwight Howard. I love that Shaquille O'Neal takes shots at Dwight now. Apparently, there's a running joke I found out about last night where Shaq, on the award-winning NBA on TNT crew, Inside the NBA is what it's called, he apparently will always bring up Dwight Howard's failings in Taiwan. And it's really funny because he says the team is 3-11, basically saying it's all Dwight Howard's fault. So that was great. Although I don't agree with the pettiness whenever he's not even playing anymore. But we did get some trades, as we kind of touched on the show here. Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns will, I believe, lace up this Thursday. But it looks more and more like if Chris Paul doesn't get it this time, I know the Basketball Hall of Fame is easy to get into. I know Chris Paul is a Hall of Famer, but if the NBA made a Hall of Fame by itself, which it should have done years ago, is Chris Paul in without a ring? I mean, it's very sad. As good as he's been, how do you choke that much and be a Hall of Famer? It blows my mind. As good as he's been, I don't understand it. Looking at even NASCAR made a Hall of Fame about 10 years ago. Why is the NBA? That makes no sense to me. You look at the Kyrie to Luka thing, and already with the first 5 games the two played, it was all about, well, why didn't they take a shot? What's going on here? One of the games, the shot clock ran out at the end. And it's everything I thought was going to happen is going to happen because Luka, I love Luka way more than I love Kyrie, is petty. Got Rick Carlisle fired. Hasn't been the most happy guy when things don't go his way. So I would like to know if those two, the only thing that's holding them back is themselves, and that's they're up here. It's sad. And the Miami Heat apparently did get Kevin Love. As a Miami Heat fan who has watched Kevin Love for a long time, I'm ecstatic to see him here. Well, here in Miami, I'm excited because I feel like he's a very underrated piece that might help us win some more playoff games than we think. Okay. And the All-Star game just happened, All-Star weekend, really, and that's what's on everyone's mind. So to get on that, the dunk contest, everyone was like, oh, it's gonna stink again. Who is Trey Murphy? Who is Mac McClung? Who is this? Who is that? And then on Twitter, I look at the next morning because I didn't watch it. And guess what? Mac McClung and the dunk contest are trending. Why? They're saying he saved it. How many years are guys going to save the dunk contest? I understand that things have not been done before, but I have a new theory on why I don't care if superstars like LeBron join. If you're not the greatest dunker, I don't want to see you. How's that for a change? I don't want to see Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and all these guys if they're not great dunkers. People have said that LeBron James is just a good power dunker. Is not a good creative dunker. It would have been cool to see John Morant, Zion Williamson. I get it. But Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon did happen. That's phenomenal. And that was amazing. And then Mac McClung is amazing as well. Since high school, he's been this good. They say he signed the 10-day contract just to get to the dunk contest and wins the thing.
Yeah, he's Mac McClung, Michigan guy, I believe. I remember watching him in college. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think he's from like I think somehow he's from where Allen Iverson's from, and he broke Iverson's record supposedly.
Oh yeah, white guy, right?
Yeah, a little white guy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, he's from Georgetown. Like, yeah, you're right. I think so.
But before that, I think he was in like Virginia. It was somewhere in the
I
eastern
want to get
states.
to these things, but I'll start with the dunk contest, the All Star Weekend. I don't care about the game, but you're right. I think you bring up a valid point. It's like, on one hand, yeah, we want to see the superstars. Of course, we're not going to see a 40-year-old or 39-year-old LeBron James. I get that, or however old he is. That's those days are numbered. Did he ever participate in one at least?
He didn't, and I don't care.
I feel like I don't know if you'll ever get this out of these guys without a CBA negotiation, but I feel like, if you sign a max deal, I need a slam dunk contest out of you. Unless you're, hell, not even unless you're Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson won some slam dunk. I say unless you're a small guy, but unless you're injured, I want a dunk contest out of you. Like, if this player empowerment allows you to sign max contracts, complain and leave, and join forces, then the NBA should have some control, for lack of a better word. I know that's a touchy
Use
word.
the word.
Yeah, I know that's a touchy word in the NBA, along with the word owners. So there should be a kind of a scratch my back, I scratch yours, because a lot of people I talk to really feel that, like, players just come in, make their money, and they do what they want, and it really handcuffs the league. And so anyways, that's not really a big point. I think on one hand, I'd like to see the stars. On the other hand, you're right. I'd like to see a lot of these athleticism and one mixtape style plays. But in the age of social media, like you said, I can just wake up and catch it on Twitter. Why am I watching this? I don't care.
That's true.
I love hockey, and I don't watch the All-Star game or the skills competition.
Right.
Like, they all don't care anymore. As far as when I say they all, I mean All-Star games. The big four, they don't matter. Just give them. They make money, but you're right. I can catch it on Twitter. There's no bearing on the game. The game doesn't have any bearing. There's nothing to them. The Pro Bowl is now flag football, so it's just like.
I've heard that was good. I did not watch a single thing of that, but I've heard that was better than what people are giving it for. So I do want to give the NFL credit for that part.
Well, I think it may have been better because they actually just bit the bullet and said, okay, we're going to play flag football, then pretend to play tackle football, and it's still flag football. At least they leaned into
At least you have some effort, though, to pull a flag instead of just, touch a guy.
Yeah. So with Kevin Durant, you're saying he's going to lace up Thursday?
That's what they're saying, yeah. That's
when
the All-Star break ends, pretty much.
When was he traded?
He was traded like the day after Kyrie, like less than 24 hours later.
It feels like he was traded a week ago. He hasn't. I know that the All-Star game, but there was at least some games in between, correct?
He was hurt, which I love, because like some trades won't go through because of injury.
All right, fair enough. So that was, and I just feel like it feels like to me that he's been traded a week ago, and of course I get the All-Star break, but then he's not going to play till. Does the season resume on Thursday? Is that what I'm?
Yeah.
Understand? Okay, fair enough. All right. And then my last thing is with Kyrie. Now I went to bat for him a little bit with the vaccine thing, because I believe that governments and things were being unreasonable, especially when the fans could sit there without a mask, but the player couldn't. Anyways, but it just added to the list of his idiosyncrasies, we'll call it. Why do teams continue to give Kyrie Irving, Antonio Brown for a little bit, an extent? At what point do you realize, yeah, he can play, but can he be on the field /court? Like, can he coexist? Like, he's done things, especially Kyrie, he's done things so ridiculously bonkers that it's like, I know Mark Cuban's a big risk taker, but how did Luka sign off on this?
Aaron, I'll be honest, my take on that on this here show a couple of weeks ago was, this seemed like, I don't know if Luka signed off because like he felt like it was the last resort, but it almost seemed like Mark Cuban, this is his effort to keep Luka. and it's a poor effort because after getting rid of Brunson, after not getting Brunson, and like I always knew, I love Jalen Brunson, and he's always been down, and they let him walk for nothing, and now he's balling out in New York. So they have Kristaps Porzingis did not work out because Luka, I guess, didn't want it to. He's going to leave in free agency, and this Kyrie thing all of a sudden, like, oh well, now he's got a co-star. Well, yeah, but it's like the last ditch effort at a co-star. That's how I feel like this plays out.
I think Luka would be dumb to leave Dallas, but I get what you're saying, and I almost think the Kyrie could backfire for Mark Cuban.
Oh, it's going to backfire,
but if he was
in the worst way.
If he thought he was leaving anyways, I guess throw every noodle on the wall, see what sticks. So.
As for the All-Star game itself, it was the worst one since the new formats of play for each quarter for charity. And in the fourth quarter, they just add 24. It was competitive late, and they do try harder as the second half goes on, which is nice. But in this game, it did not help that Giannis was already injured and had one dunk and then left. And then LeBron James on a chase down block, talk about a stain on the All-Star game, he bends his finger back and doesn't want to play the second half because of chance of like it being broken or whatever. So that's a stain. Like when you give effort and then that happens, people are like, oh great, now I'm not gonna give even more effort. It was just even worse. So that's brutal, and it was a bad second half.
Yeah, and I was talking to Sammy, our buddy Sammy Action, and I said, look, the fact of the matter is as much as poo-pooing as goes on TV shows and social media, these things have to make money. Otherwise they wouldn't put them on.
You're throwing a bunch of idols in one arena, and yeah, people are going to show up and people are going to watch. I mean, they sell. Whether people like it or not, they sell. And that's all I can say about that.
I'd almost rather they get them all together for a weekend and make it a fan experience. You don't have to play a game. Just interact with kids. Sign autographs. And this isn't just basketball. This is all of them. Sign autographs, maybe some, I don't know, some kind of experiences with kids and, Q&As with adults. I don't know. They could figure something out. But if you can have an all-star weekend without a game and still put on a show for fans, I think it would be great. And ultimately, until it becomes a negative investment for the league and for TV, we're going to get these crappy games.
I'm not mad at them, though.
Gives me a chance to watch something else.
Right. Daytona 500 was yesterday, too. And it ended under caution, which kind of sucks.
It's ended under caution a few times, hasn't it? It wasn't like the longest race in Daytona history by time.
Yeah, and it went 212 laps. Instead of 200.
Yikes.
Which is sad. Let's do a 30-second countdown break because that's the only commercial we got right now. And then when we come back, we're going to talk some NFL because people like that.
Looks like we're still on.
It blows my mind that your mic was not muted during that entire process.
I don't understand. I didn't understand what was going on. I thought you were
countdown. Little water break.
I didn't see the countdown. I saw it the first time.
That's crazy. Anyways, I saw it. It looked good. I'm fantastic. That's the funny. Okay, I'm digging the stream service, but that right there is pretty funny. Okay. Anyways. Woo! Okay, NFL. We're MikeandAaronDrive.com for all the links because you support us. We're dying over here. We're living in boxes, apparently.
This is the AM Drives powered by StreamYard test run. We'll be better on our next show for sure.
It's like AM walk right now, or AM car broke down. Oh.
AM trip over our tongues.
This is bad. Okay, so NFL. Let's get into the hot topic first. This situation destroys me. Eric Bieniemy, just just a world class individual. He had like 5 different charges on his Wikipedia page. I know it was like before 2001, but that blows my mind. Here's a fun fact though. Eric Bieniemy is the all-time leading rusher for the Colorado Buffaloes, which I never knew. And he also finished 3rd in Heisman voting in 1960. Interesting.
He was a pretty good little running back for a little bit.
And now he's been riding Andy Reid's coattails for a long time. So it's funny that he started off as the Chiefs running back coach in 2013 and was there for a long time. We were saying that he couldn't get a head coaching job because he's black. But here's the thing with that. DeMeco Ryans was hired by the Texans, okay? Was a sought-after commodity. And I think, Aaron, you bring up one of the best points of all time in the terms of how you said, how many black coaches do we want? Do we want half the league to be black? What is the end game here? Like, how much percentage do we want 80% black? Because the league's already got a bunch of athletes, and you don't see people like our skin color complaining. Like, we recognize we stink, okay? It's okay to admit that. So if guys just don't, I feel like just guys just don't want to be head coaches sometimes. Like, I don't feel like if you're a really good head coach, why would an NFL team not want to pay you? That makes absolutely no sense.
I mean, the question really is what are you doing in interviews? Because if he didn't want to be a head coach, he wouldn't even go to the interviews. So what are you doing in interviews that is leaving a sour taste in owners' mouths, or what have you done in your life? I mean, like, you're right. I mean, this was the year, and Andy Reid came out and said, EB drew up the play that basically they ran twice for the 2 crucial touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
Who cares?
No, I think that is relevant because I think a lot of people, myself included, and that doesn't really change my vibe. But what I will say is it may start to say, okay, maybe Eric Bieniemy is a little more involved in the offense than we think. Because I've still been like, dude, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you're the kid in the class, you're the kid in the group project that just slapped his name on Eric Bieniemy. Sorry, and you got the A. I love this move because it will be put up or shut up. Because he's
not a head coach though.
No, but I understand that. But he also got a pay raise, which is fine.
You like the assistant head coach thing? That's pretty funny in my opinion.
Ron Rivera is a defensive guy. We know that. So this is Eric Bieniemy's offense, and not the Redskins, the Commanders. Excuse me. The Commanders are not a Patrick Mahomes led offense. So if we want to test how good, now I know there's a built-in excuse. Oh well, the Commanders don't have anything compared to Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, well, the 2 coordinators from the Philadelphia Eagles got jobs with Jalen Hurts and a pretty good defense. So not everybody's Patrick Mahomes. So this is really a put up or shut up for Eric Bieniemy. So he's betting on himself, which I like, because if he can turn the Commanders around offensively, he could be the coach if Ron Rivera does get fired. I mean, say they go 9-7, 7-9, it's not good enough for for Snyder. Or if, God forbid, the Texans coaching job opens up again, no offense to DeMeco Ryans.
Hey, 4th black coach in 4 years would be insane.
For a franchise that's labeled racist, it is a very odd thing for 3 black.
They did get rid of the preachy guy, apparently, so it's not surprising that this has happened. I don't think that gets talked about enough. They got rid of the guy who was like Easterby. I think they got rid of him.
That's fair, yeah. But it's 3 black head coaches who have all been 2 of them who have been fired in 1 year spans. Anyways, I like this move for Eric Bieniemy if he wants to, like I said, quote unquote, bet on himself. And I'm not rooting against him. I'm curious to see, like I said, there's got to be a reason that everybody loves Eric Bieniemy, but he keep getting passed on. And then DeMeco Ryans pops up 1 year and gets a job.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would like to mention that he was a hot commodity once again, and he's, anyways. I just thought that was interesting.
As far as the population, if we're using representation, I believe Black America is 12% of the population. So if you took 12% of 32 teams, you're talking three black head coaches. Who do we have? Ryan's. Who else do we have?
We have Mike Tomlin as all because he never gets fired.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin.
He's got dirt on the Steelers organization.
Todd Bowles. There's your three. And then Mike McDaniel, who identifies as half black.
Identifies. Man, listen.
He said he was mixed.
Huh?
Mike McDaniel said he was mixed race. I think he's half black, half white. He just looks white.
Why is he going to say that, though? People are so stupid. Anyways. Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, or lack thereof, for the Philadelphia Eagles, got hired by the Cardinals for the head coach. The poor get poorer. I love that because I think he's a major downgrade from Cliff Kingsbury. I still think Cliff got a horrible raw deal. I don't know what he was supposed to do with Kyler, who doesn't want to work hard. I don't know what he's supposed to do with that. I thought Cliff was actually had them pretty competitive at times. I do think they were. I did like their defense this last year. I thought it was a very underrated part of their game. So I get if they want to build a defensive juggernaut, go ahead. I don't think Jonathan Gannon is the guy. And then Shane Steichen, great German name, or Steichen. No, he got hired to the Colts. I love this. Apparently, Shane Steichen was with Justin Herbert when he was an MVP candidate, and then got with Jalen Hurts this year. And I'm not saying that looks pretty good. So we can get like Bryce Young, even CJ Stroud. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think they'll be going quarterback in the draft. And as far as the Cardinals, to be fair to Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray was also the reason he got the job too. So, so yeah, you made your bed, you lied in it, and now I'm curious to see if anybody can light a fire under Kyler Murray's ass. But yeah, I mean, you're stuck with them. I mean, nobody. To go back to one of the things you said, nobody's going to turn down a head coaching job simply because of the money. The discrepancy, the gap between coordinator and coach, even a first-time head coach, is still millions of dollars.
Right. Question for you. Tell me about this Lamar for Tua thing that's being thrown around.
I don't know. I've seen it a couple places. I don't see any world where Lamar Jackson is not a Raven next year, albeit be it a contract extension or the franchise tag. Lamar would be doing himself a disservice if he did not perform well under the franchise tag.
Right.
But I have seen these Lamar for Tua's. It would be great for Miami, absolutely. I mean, no disrespect to Tua, yeah, but it would be.
I love Tua, but if you give Lamar Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and he's fast, oh good God Almighty!
Oh, that's a question too. Is that can he maximize Tyreek Hill and Waddle better than Tua did this year? Because he can't throw the ball downfield as well as Tua, in my opinion.
Yeah, but according to what Tua haters told me, it doesn't matter how you throw a football because Tyreek Hill makes anybody great. That's what I was told.
Well, I think Tua made a huge when he was on the field, made huge strides this year.
Agreed.
I think Tua haters may have been warranted at the start of last year. Now, if they're still out there, they're out there in less quantities. But I'm still on the fence with Tua. I'm not against him. I thought he took ginormous leaps this year when he could stay healthy. That's always scary. But Lamar categorically is better all around than Tua, and he would make their team better. I don't know if Lamar Jackson can make any team, despite the fact that I've picked them twice in 2 straight years. I don't think he's a Super Bowl contender by himself. I mean, we talked to what's her name, Joe Madden, I think.
Yeah, our last guest actually.
The defensive coordinator who remained anonymous may have said some out of line things, but I don't know if you remember. I wasn't too far off with that DC. Like, I don't think if you took Lamar Jackson and put him on the Carolina Panthers or the Washington Commanders or the Seattle Seahawks or if you switched him for Kyler, I don't think he makes any of those teams Super Bowl contenders.
I think he makes the Dolphins one.
I don't know.
I really, after the way Tua did it, I'm not, again, I love Tua, I love Lamar, but I think you add the aspect of he can run it way better. I don't care if he misses a couple throws. I think he's going to do way more than what Tua could do. Oh, I love Tua.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think he makes their team better. I just don't think he makes them and at the
How much?
A beginning of season Super Bowl contender is much different than a week 15 Super Bowl contender.
Ask Josh Allen about that.
Yeah, I mean, after game 1, people are ready to put the rings on him.
And how many times did I say no?
I think we both did. I actually fell in love with Josh Allen and the Bills in the later part of the season to my own detriment.
Oh no.
Whatever. It's easy to. It's hindsight is easy. I mean, we all talked about the Chiefs. Nobody on this show thought they'd lose a step, but everybody thought they'd lose a step. You know,
the Bengals grew on me.
I'm wondering.
I think I'm not a fan of Joe Burrow in the fourth quarter after seeing his stats. Like, he really has been kind of putrid in playoff games in the fourth quarter. But that team is so well built. If they can keep it together still, I like them going forward.
If there's a year next year where all starting quarterbacks in the North stay healthy, and I know you don't like Kenny Pickett, but if you have Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and Kenny Pickett healthy for the 6 games, or for the 6 games that they play against the Bengals, I'm not so sure about the Bengals next year.
It would be nice. It would be nice if the Bengals could finally take a back seat.
Joe Burrow's incredible, but I'm just saying, like, they're not going to win the North every year like Mahomes and Brady and Rodgers did, you know.
I do want to give more flowers to Jalen Hurts, dude. I'm so serious about this. Just like how Kyler Murray has gone from here to here with me, Jalen Hurts has gone from here to here. Like, I have loved his trajectory. He feels like a Tom Brady type story. He's a lot more higher talent out of college than Tom Brady was. But in terms of these guys who you see, like you, huh?
I said he almost won a Heisman.
Yeah. But in terms of like people, like quarterbacks that you see that it's just like people think they have a good work ethic. That's how I view Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts wants to get better, and he always gets better every single year, no matter what. And I think next year he could be contending for QB2.
Oh, you mean in like I see what you're saying, like behind Mahomes.
And AJ Brown, AJ Brown was a great addition for them.
Sure, he was. Yeah, absolutely. The question really is can they keep this team together? Under the cap, we'll see. Because he's going to be due to make money here soon.
And that's suicide. It's funny because Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback that has, like, I know the MVP thing is huge because it's kind of like you get the MVP, but like the team stinks. Like, it's also a big contract thing too, and I'm surprised Mahomes actually got there and won it, having a high contract. That speaks volumes to how great he actually is.
Well, look how many rookies had to play a pivotal role in the Chiefs winning.
Bro, Steve Spagnuolo could have won Coach of the Year based on that alone. That's insane to me.
I mean, you had almost the entire secondary. You had a running back in Pacheco. I mean, so
7th rounder.
When you have that contract, you're going to have to hit a lot of draft picks, and they did.
Yes, and it's such a credit to them.
Yeah, and Mahomes is the Brady, is the Rodgers. Like, well, maybe not. I don't know about Rodgers,
but he's better than Rodgers, and that's coming a lot from me.
Oh no, I'll say this. I don't know how hot of a take this is. Mahomes is in my top 5 all time right now.
I've seen people say 3.
I'm not ready for that.
I can't put him over Peyton yet. I'm sorry. I'm a Colts fan. I have a lot of respect for Peyton.
So it's Tom, Peyton, Joe, John, Pat for me.
You think John Elway?
You didn't watch early John Elway, man.
I feel like John Elway never did anything until his running back was running for 150 yards in the Super Bowl.
Well, he went to 3 Super Bowls.
That is true, and he got smacked around the first time.
Dragon teams. He's your LeBron. He's dragging
That's
bums
fair.
Super Bowl. Watching him play, like, and I didn't even see a lot of his prime. I saw like early 90s to the end of his career, where his good work was in the 80s. But like, yeah, I mean, that's me is Tom, Peyton, Joe, John, and Pat. So, I mean, you could interchange. I think you could interchange Pat and John probably, because they both. And the sick thing is that Pat Mahomes has done all this in 5 years.
People don't understand he's not even 30, and apparently I did not know this until Nick Wright said it, like the Mahomes lover. I did not realize that Brady and Manning did not win an MVP until they were 30. He's got 2 at 27. Now, I do want to say that this is a story for another day. The earlier quarterbacks train and get better and better and better at an early age, the more this will happen, I believe, in the future. But Mahomes is definitely the first one we're seeing it happen to.
Yeah, in
terms of early development.
He's a out the gate superstar. I mean,
it's great.
Manning was thrown into the fire and got to learn on the fly. Mahomes got a year. Brady got a year plus, like, the benefit of great defense, and maybe the greatest coach of all time. Like, so Mahomes is in his own goat atmosphere right now.
I love that Andy Reid is taking Don McNabb and Patrick Mahomes to Super Bowls. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
I do wonder if when Andy Reid does retire, I really hope Mahomes stay. I think he's going to be as good, but I don't know how much as good he's going to be.
Well, you figure
you can't deny Andy Reid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Andy Reid. Andy Reid's just young enough that I don't see him going anywhere for 5 more years at least. So
fair. Let's see one more countdown that Aaron can't see.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about XFL quickly and also some golf, which has once again in some controversy. Mike, did you see that one?
Nope.
You saw me laughing at you?
Nope. I was looking at something on the computer.
Cool. Always works now, of course. Now, MikeandAaronDrive.com. Oh, lovely days, lovely days. Any parting shots, anything we've talked about so far?
Yeah. I'll say that I'm really rooting against the Phoenix Suns for... As much as I don't follow basketball, I'm really rooting against them. Sorry, Chris Paul.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the XFL real quick. I know you didn't watch it. I watched about 1.5 games. Listen, I am so glad. First of all, San Antonio has a football team again, because that San Antonio has some of the best fans in sports that's not even talked about. Like, Spurs always pack out their games for no reason whatsoever. The Brahmas is what they're being called now. We're apparently packing out their stadium in the XFL, and like they had like the San Antonio, I forgot what the team was called in the AAF, the Alliance of American Football. They had a team that was packing out stadiums too, so that's really cool to see. Also, I do love the rules the XFL is doing. Like, it's such a clean game. It's just like it was in 2020. The one thing I don't like, and I don't know if you've seen this rule yet, but down with under 2 minutes left, you have the option to do like a 4th and 15 conversion from your own 25, or like 2 other conversions like after you score a touchdown. It's like if you feel like you want to come back still, instead of an onside kick, you do like one of 3 things. And so I like that, But I did not like it whenever Arlington was up 22-20 on the Vegas Vipers. Vegas had just scored a touchdown. They missed their 2-point conversion, right? So after that, they still had the opportunity to get a 4th and 15 conversion. I feel like it was very anticlimactic if a team that you just scored against, if you couldn't even get your conversion. I did not like that the team who just stopped you and was like, oh, wow, we're so good, was then had to play defense again for the 4th and 15, which was also almost converted. I didn't like that part of the rule, but I do love what they're doing. The referee review is so quick and easy. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit sloppy, but I think XFL hit the ground running once again.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's going to be hard to develop the popularity that obviously the NFL has, but it's an interesting. I'll say this with every football league that comes up. It's an interesting opportunity to become a AAA type league.
Yeah, I think they're already linked to the NFL. I think we talked about that before. Like they've already got some, like they're experimenting with certain refs or whatever. I think they're already like handshaking with the NFL more than the USFL is.
Yeah, I know they were looking at like trying out rules and stuff there, but I don't know about actual players. That would be an interesting concept.
I still love the kickoff rule where like guys stand at like the 30-yard line and then wait till the ball reaches the returner and then they start going at each other, because it does look like it reduces a lot of injury. I do like that rule a whole lot.
I mean, if we want to bring the kickoff back in the NFL, it may be something to look into for sure, because kickoffs at this point are just a formality. It almost seems
so sad.
Unless it's a windy game, you're looking at basically, these guys just, what are they, 80, 90, 95% touchback rates? It's like, well, what the hell's the point?
I agree. Let's get to this though. So for the first time ever, I feel like on the show, Jon Rahm actually won something, and we're talking about it. So the bets paid off. Now he's like 7-1, one of the co-favorites to win the Masters, which I would say sell high. But Aaron, tell me how Jon Rahm did it at the Genesis Invitational, and don't talk when you talk about Tiger Woods, talk about his play first, and then we're going to get to the other thing.
Okay, well, basically, Jon Rahm took the Genesis via Max Homa, as you like to say, choke jobs, but it was tough.
Mouse ring.
Rahm hit a big 45-foot birdie putt, I believe, on 12. I think it was their 11 or 12, and then or it was the 14th, and then basically stole this, I would say, for a 2-shot victory over Max Homa. Max Homa missed a putt that would have kept the game close or kept the match close, but ultimately Rahm took the win. Now in the Genesis, I know it's not a major, and I know you like to call. Oh, I lost me. Oh, you talking to me? Am I got the big screen now?
Yeah, you got the big screen now.
Oh, you're trying out all the bells and whistles and the features.
Right.
But yeah, Tiger, I believe, what did he finish? He ended up actually
-1.
Yeah, finished -1, but he was like 45th. He made the cut.
16 strokes back.
Yeah, I think he had 4 or 5 bogeys in the last round, which really hurt him.
Oh.
But the talk of Tiger wasn't his return. The talk of Tiger was his inner what do you call it? His exchange with Justin Thomas, and by exchange, it literally was an exchange. Looking into it, I had a giggle, and if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock or you don't follow golf, Tiger Woods outdrove Justin Thomas actually by only 10 yards on a particular hole. I don't know the hole, but as they're walking to their balls to take their second shot, Tiger Woods hands Justin Thomas a tampon.
It's so great.
It was pretty funny. But some other people did not agree. And of course, outrage on Twitter.
Yep.
And of course, some of the golf talking heads have voiced their opinion on this. And I don't have I can see where it was grimy, but
Oh, Jesus
it's
Christ.
I can 100%. I can see why people were outraged, but it wasn't anything that needed to be as magnified as it got. But like you said, we are in a world where everyone is offended by everything, and people whose opinions we don't need to hear, we're going to hear them anyways. So my 2 cents is that I got a good chuckle. I can see how it's offensive, but let's just move on. It's not that big a deal.
Okay, so here's my thing. I co-host a show. I produce a show which is hosted by a female who's a former athlete. Is like a Hall of Fame athlete apparently, and she's amazing. I would like to think that even she is not going to say that she can just go out there and outperform a man at sports. Okay, I don't think she believes that. So
Well,
I feel
what are you saying? What does that mean?
I feel comfortable in saying that I appreciate women's sports. I support the WNBA more than a lot of people do. I got banned from Facebook for a month for getting mad at somebody on Facebook for criticizing the WNBA. I say that to preface my comments and say this: I don't care if you're offended. I just don't. This idea that you cannot say you swing like a girl anymore is pretty stupid. It's because it's more about the man that you're telling it to than it is about the generation of the population of women. It really is. Like, we're not criticizing women for being weak. We love women. Ask men how much they love women. Tiger loves women. We know this. So why does it matter when Tiger is saying, "Hey, you see like a girl? Here's a tampon"? I get. Is it kind of dirty? Yes. Would I do it in front of fans? No. Do I care? No. I don't feel like
Yeah,
I don't feel like this
think,
has to be a thing unless people want it to be a thing.
yeah, I think if they're in the locker room and he hands them a tampon,
That makes more sense.
you can get a good laugh out of it. But you're Tiger Woods. Like
Yeah, you can't. I get it.
none of your movements are gonna go unphotographed.
You feel
So
your socks the wrong way. Yeah, I agree with that. That's true.
like I said, I can see the problem with a woman's feminine device being passed along
Yeah.
as a means of saying, look, man, you are weak just like a girl.
Let me take that back because
I find it more offensive that he gave it to him for a drive that went 10 yards past and not like 50 yards past.
I guess I'm going to take back what I said for one reason. I'm not going to take it all the way back. I think you can say that in a better way. Because when you say the word feminine device, it kind of like hit me harder on what it actually. I know what it is, but I feel like that's kind of dirty, anyways. Especially when you are the ambassador for a game. I feel like there's a way to say, like, to find a middle ground here. That part of it was a little bit weird, but I think that the general thing that he was trying to say was you swing like a girl.
Right.
So
And
I feel like the tampons are probably a bit too much if I look back at it in hindsight.
yeah, I think it was. But like I said, like as a person who's, plays golf, I've sent
You ever done
some
that?
and received some zingers of my own.
Whoa!
Like I've said it, and it's been said to me that like when you miss a putt short, the person will be like, "Oh, did your skirt get in the way?"
Love it.
Like
that to me would have been better to say than giving somebody an actual tampon
yeah,
because you have
and
to go out of your way to go to Dollar General and actually buy that thing. I get that.
So I don't love it. Like I said, I don't love it. I understand why people were offended. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Like I'm offended. I don't think people should be offended, but I can understand why they would be upset by it. I don't know. It's really hard to say. But when you go back to the other situation, like to make fun, what we know as a fact, and I'll say this, and it could be a backlash, what we know as a fact is, generally speaking, now, are there individual people? Yes, absolutely. I could probably go to Gold's Gym down the street and find 8 women who are stronger than me right now. But
According
only as a species, men are stronger than women.
to science.
Yeah. So, I mean, look at like the women's soccer team. They got beat by high school boys back in the day.
I want to say this. I think soccer is a lot more skill based. I don't think that's as big of a deal as people make it out to be. I think there's like if you were to play football or like wrestling or something like that, I would get that. I think soccer is more just who cares if you win with your feet. I don't care.
Okay, well then take Annika Sorenstam, who's the best women's golfer of all time. She got destroyed on the PGA Tour.
Oh.
Like, I think she made 2 cuts, but they moved her up to, she played with the men for a little bit. It was groundbreaking, and she got destroyed. So if you want to take it, the take of the golf, the point being is that, like, I can understand, like, utilizing women as the butt of a joke for weakness isn't great.
It can get too far. And I guess a women's feminine device is a little. I agree is too far, especially when your name is Tiger Woods. But even then, I feel like he could have said that. And if you're offended by the intention, I don't get it. If you're offended by what he used, I would get that more.
Like I said, if he did that in the locker room and it never got out, fantastic. No problems.
I was bawling out laughing. Okay, so I do have to mention like a surprise topic here I did not tell you about.
Ooh.
I went down a rabbit hole last night on ESPN looking for like, because you get the XFL tabs that are open. You can't click on any stats, but that's okay. They have like stuff like this, like cricket on there. I'm looking for lacrosse, and of course you can't find anything about lacrosse. You could find something about chess. And apparently as recently as December, chess has been a ginormous cheating scandal. Apparently, like it's like a major game with apparently they make more money than I ever thought they did. Because this guy's suing for like $100 million in defamation. I'm like, I didn't even know chess was possible to do that.
Magnus Carlsen?
How did you know that?
He's a poker player too.
So Magnus Carlsen apparently accused this guy named Hans Niemann of cheating. He's a 19-year-old kid that randomly shot up the ranks. And have you heard what he used to cheat?
Isn't that the device up his leg or something like that?
It's not legs, sir.
Oh,
it's anal beads.
Blech.
Now I say it because it's just a fact. I know that sounds horrible, but apparently it would buzz him when because now they have this new rule where like you have to have like people who are watching it see it on a 30-minute delay, so that way your guys just can't come in there and like say, hey, Buzz, they're doing this now, Buzz, they're doing that now.
Right.
But apparently some controversy where like the AI systems can like apparently beat people now. And like apparently the cheating got worse when the pandemic hit because a bunch of people went on chess.com and like started like hacking it and stuff like that. That blows my mind. The article was beautiful. There was like a couple articles that were beautifully written by the same woman. I highly recommend that. If you like sports at all, and yeah, we've all played chess. I love chess. Actually, I know it more than other people probably think I do. That's a fun game, and the fact that that big of a deal was made out of it is pretty insane.
I think it's just added to the notch of things. It's like, can you do anything in the world now purely? Is anything in the world
sad.
Is anything in the world pure anymore?
I think I've told people this in 10 years. I would not be surprised if I don't watch many sports because of how badly Vegas will be involved with things. Because you cannot tell me like when Clemson's up by like 27 late, they like kick a random field goal to like cover the 28. You cannot tell me they don't know something.
Well,
that blows my mind.
These guys know what the spreads are. I'll tell you that.
I agree. And I don't think the NFL is rigged. And if you hear one more person say that when they're wrong about a prediction, I'm going to cry. But it's okay to admit that certain things are a little bit, I get it. But to me, a holding call is a holding call. I
will never. The rigged is the wrong word. I believe it's controlled.
I don't even know if controlled. I would say leaning a certain way I would get. But I feel like the Eagles, you can't go stagnant. Steve Spagnuolo in both the Bengals and the Eagles game made insane adjustments to where he shut down both quarterbacks. And to me, if Jalen Hurts doesn't like really lose the ball by himself, which is also another part of the rig thing, if Jalen Hurts doesn't just let the ball on the turf, I don't know if the Chiefs even win the game. So
I'll end it with this.
go ahead.
And I'll say this till I'm dead in the face. The margin of talent discrepancy between 1 and team 32 is so fine. That's why games are always so close at the end, and it's highly suspicious that every single game, every week, every Monday, we're talking about a ref's call or a catch or was he or wasn't he? The game has evolved, and there is so much money on the line week to week. I don't believe now do blowouts happen? Absolutely, but there is enough money involved that I don't believe that
it's 100% pure. Yeah,
I don't believe it's 100% pure. Now, are they controlling every game? No. I mean, handles matter. If there's nobody betting on Cleveland versus Houston, they don't give a shit.
I'll end it here. This will be my last thing too. I could give like 95% pure, because you can't, if you want to believe that 100% pure, you don't even want to look at the Epstein. Let's just say that, or yeah, you don't want to look into that guy at all. I'll just put it that way.
Let's just say you don't need any of the players to be involved in it. Trust.
Take us home. I'm happy we did an hour show today. We deserve this.
It's gonna do it for us here. Thanks for the makeshift Monday podcast, as we'll call
it. Be nice to Sammy.
Okay. I was just saying makeshift because we're trying out the StreamYard thing. This makeshift action Monday here of the AM Drive. Be sure to check out all the sponsors and all of our previous shows. Subscribe to the YouTube. All that you can be done by going to MikeandAaronDrive.com. It's our very own website. Please check it out. Mike's going to do a great job of having all the graphics all looking pretty for next week's show, so you're not staring at the black abyss with two cameras. For Michael Carvelis, I'm Aaron Crouch. Shout out to Sammy Action too as well, and we'll see you guys on the next show.
Adios, Drive safe.